Welcome to the Veterans Impact Show, where our commitment is to help, hope, and healing of our veteran family and our nation. I'm Jim Blythe, a U.S. Navy veteran and a certified senior advisor. Join us as we continue the mission of leadership and commitment to our communities and our great country. Why, you never know where we're going to go or who you're going to meet. We invite you to join in, plug in, and share in what we do. This is your Veterans Impact Show. Hey, great day to you. I'm Jim Blythe, the U.S. Navy veteran. Joining me, my co-host Cedric White. He really dresses it up because I'm the guy that, looks good on the radio, but thank God for Cedric. And he is my minister, as well as Cedric does a phenomenal job of marriage counseling. He and his wife, Marriage Matter, all of the things that you guys do. Yeah. It's just tremendous. Yes. Thank you for being on board, being part of this. Here. Today, I want to say a very special thank you to DBTV Network because they have expanded what they're doing. So go to DBTV. You want to watch us on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock on DBTV, on Amazon Fire and Roku and all of those things that they do. That's tremendous. And AUN TV out in California. And my sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, who I work for. My NMLS number is 311548. Theirs is 2289. And Symbios Integrative Health, keeping people alive and making things happen in the medical industry. So we have a very special program. So I need a flourish or a trumpet to say the Marines have landed.
I don't know how the trumpet goes.
Okay, we've got Dale Graham and Gary Grimes from the Dale K. Graham Foundation. They are specialists in getting veterans their benefits. Yes. So, gentlemen, welcome aboard, and thank you for being the Men Department of the Navy.
Our pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Dale, you started this foundation a number of years ago, and Cedric has been there, and he said the line is around the block. And you were telling me that today is one of your days, and the building is full. Gary invited me to come up there.
But it's so bad, so many veterans are coming up here that I've decided we're going to go ahead and put a wall along the Red River, kind of slow some of you Texans out of here.
Thank you. Well, as I say to all of my friends in Oklahoma, because I do a lot of business up there, Dallas is Baja, Oklahoma. I love it. It's great. And I tell people also, Oklahoma relives 1958 every year over and over again because you people are so nice. They're wonderful. So, but what motivated you, Dale? How did you get this foundation started, and how did you start doing veterans benefit?
Sir, I appreciate the opportunity to tell you my story. It's been quite a moving experience. When I was 18 years old, got out of high school in 1965, and I thought I had all the answers. And of course, I found out pretty soon I didn't have any of them. I joined the Marines. I got to look at it, watching the news, and they was talking about Vietnam and the upcoming deal. And I had a friend that had just returned from there as part of the original 1963, 64 folks that went in. But I wanted to do my part, so I went and I did it, I think. I was in Vietnam 13 months. I've seen a lot of stuff that you don't want to talk about, and most stuff was pretty good because, you develop a little camaraderie. You meet friends in the military that you have for your whole life. I'm still in contact with some of the guys that we were around back then. But when we returned from Vietnam, the first thing they told me is, take your uniform off. I said, what do you mean take my uniform off? They said, well, you're landing up here at San Francisco, and there's some protesters and stuff out there. Just go put your civilian clothes on and catch your cab or bus and go wherever you're going to go. I said, okay. So I did that stuff, and they were right. There was a lot of stuff going on, and of course, when we came home, you didn't even go. You wasn't doing proud of your service. I was proud of what I'd done. I was happy. I was content with myself, and I thought I'd done the right thing during the period of time that we did that. But as you get older and you learn a little bit more, it's kind of paints a different picture. But bottom line is I served for my brothers and sisters that was beside me. That's about what it amounts to. But over the years, people had a lot of issues. I had friends that would end up living on a mountain or living in a pasture. I had one guy that had a little 1 acre lot down there, and he called it his compound. And I've seen a lot of folks needed some readjustment from military service to civilian life. And I thought about that and thought about it. I used to go to VA hospital back in the 60s, and you could walk in there and you see they were so busy that they'd had the gurneys laying out in the hallways. There was all these old Vietnam returning vets, and you see that pretty soon and say, hell, I don't have any problems, and you just leave. You don't want to take anybody else's place. And so I just went on about my business, done my thing, raised a family. And along about the time they were starting those wars over in Iraq, first ones, when they started showing that stuff, I ended up going down to a vet center in Oklahoma City and going through a program called A Better Welcome Home from Vietnam. And I went through that program, and it just kind of opened my eyes up. I wasn't the only person that felt like that we was feeling back then. And I went through a lot of Indians at that point in time was running a counseling service. And after your 12 weeks sitting there in a group counseling, talking about your experiences, where you was at, then the Indians put you in a little sweat lodge and take you out and sweat all the evil spirits out of you. And hell, I think it all worked, but it helps. But I felt better after the fact, But as we moved on, I decided that I wanted to help people navigate the VA system as far as claims. Everybody that I knew that filed a claim for benefits, they were just denied and sent back home. And I'd ask somebody about it, and they said, well, I filed one time, but they said no. And so I just took it. And I got to thinking about that. And probably early 90s, I got a hold of a CFR 38, part 0 to 17, and that is a code of federal regulations for veterans. And in that code of federal regulations, they have every disability of what percentage it should be rated if it's service connected, depending upon the severity of it. And I studied on that book, a big old thick one, and I was probably messed with that for a couple of years as I progressed through trying to help people. And then I had probably done a couple of hundred people by the time I retired in 2002. 2002, I went out I lived in a little small town called Goldsby, Oklahoma. And I had a lot of friends, a lot of disabled veterans that I knew that was having a lot of issues. And we got to coming over to my place. I had a big old shop, and we would sit out there and talk about that stuff. And then as we delved into it, I studied on that. In 2002, the Washington, D.C. printed out some kind of, the Federal Register, I believe, talking about noise exposure in military service. And I took that and looked at it and read it. And I went up to a couple of audiologists and showed it to them, told them, hey, this old boy was an aircraft mechanic during military service. And I said, I need some kind of evidence to support a claim for service connection for his tinnitus and his hearing loss. And I talked to a few audiologists, and I got a couple of them that was old veterans that said, yeah, that's highly probable. They're saying it right there. So they would write up a nexus supporting service connection for that disability. It kind of stands to reason. You talk about the common sense approach. If you were out there working on an airplane, jet airplane, and motors running on it, you're going to have some hearing loss and some tinnitus. That's a given fact, and that stuff stays with you. Some of us it's worse, some of it's not so bad, but it's just one of those things. And that was the beginning of what we formed, and we decided to do a evidence-based claims system for every disability that you might have, whether it be mental health or a broken arm or whatever. Well, about 10, 12, 15 years ago, VA came out with what's called a VA Disability Benefits Questionnaire. And when the VA came out with that, they used that form to go out to they have a contractor or a VA hospital, whoever's going to do the evaluation of a veteran. But when the veteran filed that claim and no evidence, it's going to be denied. But if you've got one of those VA disability benefits questionnaires, that's what works. But those doctors would fill those things out. Well, after being an accredited VA representative or claims agent, or I could have access to the VA computer system on the ratings from the veterans or medical records, and I could go in there and pull that stuff out. And we went and we printed off a lot of those DBQs that the VA has for everything, and we visited with a lot of medical providers and talked to a lot of people, and we really pushed this evidence-based claim system to the forefront. That's really why we are as successful as we are. At one time, when I was in Goldsby, we were working out down there, I did as many as 400 people a day, but I had about 75 or 80 fellow veterans and surviving spouses and volunteers that helped us. But we would run, I collect 300 or 400 claims a day. We do that one day a week, and we did that for probably 7 or 8 years. And then I went out on my own, I took everything and went back to just the Dale K. Graham name and put it back out there. That's where we're at today. And our initial plan was I wanted something that would continue working after we were dead and gone. And that's when I brought my buddy on and his crew in our board of directors. And we have reached a point that I think you need to tell them what's going on, what you're doing now.
What I'm doing now. Well, I can say what we've done since my background is I was a U.S. Marine, but don't worry, I can read and write. And after I did about 6 years in the Marine Corps and had been dinged up a little bit, I went into the corporate world, and I had been denied. I walked into a VA clinic in Pontiac, Michigan, not knowing there's a difference between Veterans Healthcare Administration and the Veterans Benefits Administration. The healthcare folks at the desk told me, you walked in just fine. Turn around and get out. You're okay.
Wow. Which
walked away. Yeah, it was. I'll never forget that. It wasn't until my kids came back from Afghanistan that said, Dad, you're pretty messed up. You need to go to the VA. But anyway, I came out to Oklahoma. I'd been living in North Carolina. I'd been in corporate year world for 30 years. I'd been living in just outside of Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. My daughter, when she came back from Afghanistan, moved to Oklahoma, which I have to say why. We knew nothing about Oklahoma. We were living on the beach, nice area. But she met some National Guard troops who supported her over in Afghanistan, and she said they were nice people, so she came out here. She became a police officer out here, and her husband committed suicide, succumbing to his PTSD. So we dropped everything and came out. After I decided to leave the corporate world, and when I left the corporate world, a position came open with these folks, and I asked my daughter about them. She said, Dad, they're great. You got to go help them. And so I signed up with these folks as a program director, and my job has been to modernize and to document the processes so we can then expand it so we can be repeatable, sustainable, and robust. So Dale's legend and Dale's legacy lives on. And so that's kind of where I've been at, is developing our training, capturing their knowledge and turning it into training programs and to developing a process so we can help thousands of veterans. Last year we did 7,500, met with 7,500 veterans, submitted well over 4,000 claims. And right now, our little office here in Norman, Oklahoma, according to the VA, is the 8th largest veteran service organization in the United States based upon awards payout and veterans served.
Wow, that is phenomenal. You're helping people. This is so tremendously important because a lot of people don't know. I work with seniors. I'm a certified senior advisor, and many times I'm in their home, and I'm screaming at them, and I say, "You can't hear." Yeah. Well, you're a veteran. What did you do? Well, I was a door gunner on this, or I was an aviation mechanic, or I was on a battleship. Well, have you ever been to the VA? No, I'm scared of the VA. They're going to hurt me. I got them to go in every case. They get, free hearing aids.
Right.
They get treatment. They get help. The VA is not perfect, but the VA is the largest medical system in the world. Did you guys know that?
Yep.
And the Dallas VA is now the largest VA in the United States. So I've had a lot of close contacts. And then Michael Kraus, who is VA benefits director for the state of Texas,
Right.
and our good friends, I went through, matter of fact, I did a live remote, and he said, "You've signed up for the PACT Act." And I said, "No, I haven't." He said, "You're Vietnam." I said, "Yeah." He drugged me down a hall. Best thing that ever happened to me. So when we come back, I want to talk about some of these programs. I want to talk about the PACT Act. I want to talk about the fact that you're not just Oklahoma. You're across the nation. You're in a number of countries as well. And this is important because whether it's the VA or anything, if you're talking about U.S. government paperwork, you're talking about a nightmare. You've got to have help because there's a lot of things that they don't tell you, just like you were talking about a minute ago. So when we come back, we're going to focus on veterans benefits with Dale Graham and Gary Grimes. This is Jim Blythe and Cedric White. We are Veterans Impact Show. We're here for you, and we're here to help you get all the help you need. Right, Cedric?
That's it.
All right. We'll be right back after these words from all of our partners. Thank you. And this is Veterans Impact Show. Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Well, hello, I'm Cedric White, co-host, and so glad to be here. Dale, Gary, thank you for joining us today from the Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation. Listen, I am probably, you don't even know it, but you have an evangelist that goes all over the country, and I talk Dale K. Graham. Every veteran that I know, I've sent so many people your way, and I kick myself because for about 4 years, my son, who was in the Navy just like I was kept telling me, "Dad, you need to go and go and see these guys. They're in Norman, Oklahoma." And I was like, well, I don't want anything to do with the VA. That was my mindset. I want nothing to do with them. I'm self-sufficient. But the conditions kept getting worse. My back, my knee, and situations, and as well as the migraines. I was a gunner's mate.
Is that where your hair fell out?
That's where it just pushed it right out of my head. And so the migraines that I had, what I loved about it was the process that you guys made easy. I got involved with the Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation in 2018. The end of 2018, and again, that was the time where you'd have to come up and stand in line outside and hope that you got in. I think it was Tuesdays and Thursdays before 2020, right? And when things shut down. But what I'll say to the veterans that are out there, what I'll say to those who have not taken the time to investigate, because you guys helped me to get my medical record, there were things in there that I didn't even know existed, right? From my time in the military, my time in the Navy as a gunner's mate. And you helped me to go through the process, go to the right doctors. And I had one story I have to tell, Jim, was I'd gone to a doctor, and your guys were so good. They told me, they said, "Cedric, listen, we can submit this to the VA if you want. But if we submit it with the verbiage that it's in, they're going to deny you." And so it took me about another month to go back. We went back to the doctor. The doctor was the same thing, same diagnosis, but it just had to be worded correctly. And what that taught me was that you guys had the expertise. You knew what and how it needed to be submitted. And if I tell you I've told 100 people, I probably told 200 about Dale Graham. So if you're crowded, a lot of it is probably because of me, because I sing your praises big time.
Well, that tells us a lot. And I think that one of the most important things, too, is what I'm hearing, the young men and women who are getting out of the military, they go through kind of I believe it's a week-long training deal where they're sitting in front of a CRT and they're doing this stuff. And most of them that I have talked to couldn't tell you one word of what they sat there and went through. All they were interested in doing was getting out. And so what you're doing for our younger veterans that coming out to help them out, not only, I mean, that's huge. That's important. But guys, I'm glad to know about you because I have had calls from all over the nation, and I have helped people get aid and attendance pensions from other states, from Virginia and other states. And that's an important thing to some of our older veterans who are now disabled or are suffering from things that they had, as well as for their family. It's not just for the veteran. You get that aid and attendance pension and you go to be with Jesus, there's some benefits that go to your wife, correct?
Yes, sir. Could be. Yes, sir. If it's service connected.
Yeah. To get for a spouse to get benefits, I mean, there's some criteria about length of marriage and the criteria that, but the general rule of thumb is if the veteran is service connected for the condition that ails them, or it contributes, or that condition contributes to their demise, then it's service connected and the spouse can get death indemnity compensation, which can mean a lot to a widow or a widower. Typically, and it doesn't have to be a direct connection. So if it can be a contributing factor, for instance, a lot of the Vietnam veterans come and have diabetes that's service connected due to their Agent Orange, and diabetes, leads to hypertension, leads to heart issues, leads to a whole bunch of factors that can kill a person quickly. And those right there, if it's listed on the death certificate, there's benefits available for their surviving spouse.
So that's one of the things that when we get the death certificate, they need to list these contributing factors. Guys, you are probably more familiar with the PACT Act than I am. That's when I got signed up, was under the PACT Act. And didn't they make things a little bit easier for the toxic poisoning that we got in Vietnam and many of the guys in the Middle East received as well?
Yeah, yes, sir. I totally agree with you. PACT Act, for as I'm concerned, is one of the better things that Congress has passed as far as veterans go. All of our veterans that was in Thailand, Guam, Cambodia, Laos, those are all included under the Agent Orange now. And that makes a big difference. That'll probably open the door to 1 million people's health claims. It's theirs. You can go get it for either health and, of course, money-wise, compensation. It's all out there if anybody wants it. Yes, sir.
If I can expand on that, the PACT Act added a whole number of conditions for veterans across a lot of groups as presumptive conditions, because a veteran needs to have 3 things to have a successful claim, and that is an in-service event, a chronic continuous condition, and a nexus. And by the PACT, a nexus is a decision by a medical or mental health professional saying the in-service event led to the current condition. The nexus links those two, is that link by a medical or mental health professional linking those two, and the PACT Act wrote that into law. So not only does it help the Vietnam veterans, but it also helps a lot of the younger veterans from the Gulf Wars and that, and some Camp Lejeune cases as well for veterans of that lived in Camp Lejeune. But it also changed the way the VA has to examine any type of toxic exposure. That way, it's not only a presumptive, but if a veteran is claiming a condition based upon a toxicity, they have to handle that claim differently and do a further investigation to investigate the toxicity and the claim, even if it's not listed in the PACT Act as an issue.
I think this is fabulous. All right, we're going to have to take another break to hear from our sponsors, and we want to come back and talk more about the different kinds of benefits and the different kinds of programs that you guys have got available. So we're talking with the Dale K. Graham Foundation. Gary Grimes and Dale Graham, who started it, they are specialists in benefits, getting you benefits that you deserve and helping your family. And you say, I don't want to deal with the VA. These are the guys that help you do it. You're living proof.
I'm living proof.
I'm a living proof that I had help from the Texas Veterans Commission, but we got to be back. Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Well, welcome back. And Dale and Gary, I want to ask you a question. Let's say I go and I submit my paperwork to the VA and I'm denied. That's it, right? I have no other options to work with those guys, right? I may as well go ahead and pack up my bag and give it up, right?
Oh, sir, that's just the first start right there. What I do to kind of leap before I get to that point, what I do on the claim is when a veteran walks up to me and we sit down and we pick out some issues that was in his service medical records, I have access to those. We open those up, we read them, and if it's a chronic problem, then we write it up, send them out to a medical person, get the DBQs, and then if it comes back denied, then we have two options. We can either go back and get new DBQ evidence, or we can go back and pull out something out of his medical records or her medical records to open that claim back up, or we can file, you can get the DBQ for new evidence, or you can go back and go through his medical records, or you can go and do a 20-0996 form, and it just requests a higher level review. And that 0966 form works pretty good. What happens right there is the VA takes people out of that's good folks that knows what they're doing. They're well educated.
Right.
They go in there and they'll go back and review. If you do the 0966, they'll review that decision, and if they can find any error in it that their VA people might have made on it or something they didn't see, then they'll go back and they'll remand it back to their writers, and they'll either usually send you back out to get a new DBQ, and the VA will actually make another decision on that. If it's still denied, then we take it up to the next level, up with the BVA, Board of Veterans Appeals. I try to stay out of the BVA for the only reason I try to stay out of it is it's so time consuming.
Right.
But if there's lots of ways, I'm going to explore all options before I do that.
So Dale, tell our audience what's a DBQ?
It's a disability benefits questionnaire. That's what you went and got when you went to a doctor.
Yeah.
One of our people or the VA's doctor, they filled out a DBQ on you.
And what I loved about it was I heard it said to me, and I heard it said to so many other veterans, listen, just because it's denied, right, does not mean we quit. We don't quit until you quit. That's what your guys, I heard them tell so many people, we don't quit until you quit. And that was very, very, it was inspiring, and it gave people a lot of hope. There was a community that would start to gather there in the waiting area while the different vets were waiting. And there was vets from every aspect. I mean, older guys, young guys, they were all there, but they knew there was a benefit that was going to come out of the time they spent at your office.
Yeah, and again, that benefit in many cases also can accrue to your family. So I want to stop for just a second. The Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation. It's Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation.org, correct, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
All right. You also have a telephone number, 405-550-8806. 405-550-8806. That's important to know. Now, I know there are, within the state of Texas, the Texas Veterans Commission. I've had Tom Palladino on. He was the chairman of the whole United States because every state has got a Veterans Commission in it. But none of them, I think, to go as deep as you guys do. Now, Texas is good. Texas Veterans Commission is real good. The other thing that people don't know is there's no charge. Legally, you cannot be charged as a veteran to get your benefits, correct?
Let me expound on that. You cannot, nobody, a claims agent, a veteran service organization, a state organization can ever charge a veteran for an initial claim. They can't. It's illegal, all right? And there are groups out there who will say, give us $1,000 and we're going to help you file your claim.
Yes.
What they do is they'll prepare paperwork and then you file it and they charge you for it. They can't do that. That's for an initial claim. Claims agents, who are your attorneys and independent claims agents, can charge for appeals or supplemental claims, things like that. As a veteran service organization, we don't charge a penny for anything we do. Not a thing. We handle BVA hearings, Board of Veterans Appeals hearings. We handle higher level reviews. We handle supplemental claims and initial claims. We don't charge a penny.
Gary, let me be a witness to that. I'll even share that a couple of doctor's appointments that I had to go to. My money was a little tight, and your foundation even assisted with paying the doctor's fee. It wasn't every time, but it helped me to work through the process. And again, there was not one dime charged by your organization to assist me throughout the entire process. And so again, I'm a big fan of the Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation. Big fan.
Okay, and you guys are a 501c3 foundation. So
Correct.
People can go to your
and
website.
fully accredited.
Yeah, and fully accredited. So people can go, if you want to help veterans,
Yes.
you want to help veterans a lot, whether it's $10 or $10,000, go to the DaleKGrahamFoundation.org. And is there a place that they can donate, Gary? I think
On our website, there is a button that says donate here.
Yeah.
And click that and go through. By the same token, if you'll look up at I'm trying to say, right there, the flashing red button. Thank you.
You bet.
Donate there. Also, if you happen to live in Oklahoma or if you want to volunteer and invest time, I need volunteers. We'll train you how to write claims and how to be a accredited claims representative with the foundation.
Well, you can come up from
Texas. If you just want to
Texas
hang out
and
and pour coffee, we'll help you, have you as a volunteer.
That's right.
People can come up from Texas and do that. You don't have a barrier, do you?
No. We'll deal with anybody, even people from Texas.
Okay, that's good to know.
So, Gary, let me ask a question, and I'm pretty sure this might be the question that a lot of the listeners are just burning to get answered, and that is, what is the process? How would a veteran get started with you now? I know it's changed since 2020,
yes,
right? So, what's the process?
And I want to be fully transparent here because I'm going to jump back. You know, when you gave out our phone number, I'm going to tell you right now that our phone receptionist, when she walks in the morning at 8 and she leaves at 5, never gets off that phone.
Yeah.
And most station, and we still have people trying to get through that can't get a hold of us because we are so busy. Right now, what happens now, and this is one of the negative things with the foundation, I want to be full transparent. I have so many volunteers waiting for us right now. If you schedule an appointment today, or if you go online and register and get an appointment, we may not be able to see you until the end of September. It's that many people backed up. We need volunteers. We need more resources. However, what do I encourage everybody to do is go on to the website, fill out our intake form. It's a very extensive intake form. We'll get you registered, and then we'll send you an invite to schedule an appointment. It'll send you a link. You'll click on it and schedule your own appointment to come in and do an assessment with us. Now, the assessment is the heart of our process. That is where Dale or one of our accredited reps will sit down with you, review your case, get your story, find out what your issues are, and then help you and guide you in what information, what evidence is needed to have a viable and successful claim. We give you that list and tell you, go get that evidence. Or here, we'll help you search for it here. You fill out this form to get this. We'll guide you through that. We'll help you navigate. From there, once you have that evidence, bring it back to us. We'll get your claim written and get this submitted, and we'll stick with you through the whole process and fight with you right alongside you until you've gotten what you've earned and deserved under the law.
So, Gary, let me say this in reference to what you just said, right? If they signed up today and it takes to September to get to them, to me, that's a testimony. That's a testament of how well you service the veterans, because there's such a demand for what you guys do. There's such a success level. And here's what I'll say. I was 4 years out. Not that it took you guys 4 years to service me. It took me 4 years of my son trying to convince me to come see you. And once I did, they moved along expeditiously. So I'll tell everybody that's listening, listen, if there's anything possible, have them do the assessment, get engaged with you guys. And I'm actually surprised that they have you as number 8, because I haven't heard of any other organization that works as well as Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation. I haven't.
Well, remember the people like the American Legion, the Disabled American Veterans, the VFW, Wounded Warriors Project. They're bigger than we are when it comes to the claims and such. But they also have, 77 American Legion posts in Oklahoma alone. VFW, how many posts do they have? How much revenue? We're just one small little shop.
That explains it.
But we're our progress now. I'm a real data geek. I love data and information to help us formulate how to work better. And I don't have it up in front of me, but one reason we're successful, if you look at the average veterans payout, veterans who do it on their own are about $1,800 a month in average benefit payouts. They go to a state organization, they're about $2,100, and I don't have the exact in front of me. I wish I did. About $2,100 a month in payouts on average. Okay, this is across all the people there. If they go to an attorney, they're about $2,200 to $2,300 a month. Attorneys will get them more, but they'll also charge them for that. Our average is $24,750 or $75. $2,475 is average of the people that go through us, which is higher than outperforms anybody else in the market.
That's because you do it right. And the VA is not in business to not, we're veterans, not have you be a patient of the VA, but it's government. And I got to tell you, all of us served. So if you don't understand government paperwork, then you didn't serve.
That's for sure.
Well, just go look at your tax returns.
Yeah.
Go read the tax code. And I have friends who are attorneys who have looked at the tax code and then looked at CFR 38. They say the tax code is simpler.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. And one of the things, Dale, I got to tell you, you graduated from high school the same year I did.
Yes, sir.
I went to Vietnam in 1967 with the Navy on the Oriskany. I was in a squadron. You said you worked on aircraft. Which aircraft did you work on?
I didn't work on aircraft. I was in the combat. I was in the Marines as a combat engineer. There out of. We started in Da Nang and ended up at Dong Ha and around that area up there. I just kind of done my time. One of the things I did want to talk about, I know it's your show. I want to talk about the problems that so many people have reintegrating back into the civilian life. In 2012, I was invited to go to Harvard University to be a part of a program called A Better Welcome Home. And I went through up there, and if you ever get a chance, go into Harvard YouTube and type my name in, it'll pop up right there. But it talks about things that to make a better welcome home, things that will help that veteran. But while I was in there, there was veterans, parents in there that had committed suicide and was having lots of issues. And what the Harvard did is they brought in about 30 different organizations to talk about how they're going to help veterans to return back, the guys coming back from the Gulf War, and all the stuff that they've seen and done and involved into. And a lot of people have a lot of problems with it. We're at that veteran suicide, so many of a day. It's hard to believe, but it's going on. It's a continual problem. I wanted to address that issue mostly because that's kind of dear to my heart. I've had pretty good luck with my people that we've helped not commit suicide, but I get a lot of surviving spouses that come in here and the husband sat there and shot themselves in the head or whatever they decided to do it, and I want to end that because I think we owe it to the men and women served to do everything that we possibly can once they come home.
I join you. That's why I got involved with Symbiosis Integrative Health. I've got to tell you, what they do to help veterans to get their mind right is unbelievable, because they do buzz intake, they do use of an acupuncture, using microcurrents of electricity, not needles. They've been able to get people off of drugs, these opioid drugs. They have had 100% success rate. And that's one of the reasons why they're one of our sponsors. So I'll talk to you offline about that and get you some information.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to tell you, that's something we need to all be passionate about. And Dale, it's not just the veterans. Now, a lot of people don't realize that the VA medically leads the way, and veterans lead the way in this nation, always have. We have an epidemic of suicide in children.
Yes.
Yes. Cedric, you were telling me about an 8-year-old that committed suicide?
The average age now for youth suicide is as young as, and it's going lower, 8 years old, but they're having suicides at 6 and 7-year-old. And it makes you wonder, okay, what is it that a 6-year-old, and quite often these are affluent families that these children, these are, and again, the same thing with veterans, families that just feel that they have no option. And there's a message, as you're saying, Dale, that needs to get out there to these people that there is hope, right? If we just don't give up and we make it available to them, the community at large that we have here, what you guys are doing, what we have to offer, what we do from a counseling perspective, there's hope. And a lot of people who take their own lives feel like there is not hope. And we need to get that message out.
Well, that's why Cedric and I focus on help, hope, and healing.
Yes.
And it's important. What you're talking about is so important, not only to veterans, but to our community as a whole.
Yes.
Because one of the other things is when a veteran takes his life, the chances of the children following suit is ridiculously high.
Yeah, they not only hurt themselves, that the whole family, it stays with them. But yeah, I've seen way too much of that. One of my keynotes when I was at Harvard there, I told them guys, I said, I can't teach anybody how to paint a picture, ride a horse, or do whatever you're saying, show them how to do. But I can get them a little bit of walking around money.
Yeah.
If you got a little bit of walking around money in your pocket, things are going to get better. And that's kind of basically what I'm doing. I've been volunteering doing this for 30 years, and I'm doing it because I care about the people, and that I don't want. I've seen too much suffering. There's no reason for a lot of this.
So
that's right.
No
That's right. Okay, guys, we got to take a break. We'll be right back after these words from all of our partners. We're talking with Dale K. Graham and Gary Grimes with the Dale K. Graham Foundation. We're going to put that up again so you can see it. This is Veterans Impact.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Heart's Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
We've been talking with Dale K. Graham of the Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation and Projects Director Gary Grimes. Is that right, Gary? Projects Director?
Program Director.
Program Director. Okay.
But goes by any other name.
Okay. Besides just getting signed up for benefits, do you guys have other programs? Because we were just talking about suicide prevention that you're doing.
Well, at the foundation, we do our outreach, and you talk about suicide prevention. One thing that I think Dale, you can't sell short what Dale's done. The VA's own studies show that a veteran who is connected to their VA benefits is 60% less likely to commit suicide.
Absolutely.
And that's the VA's own data and the own study. So there's a lot of value and saved a lot of lives on what he's done and what the foundation has done over the years. And we can't lose sight of that. But we do have a lot of our programs are ancillary to veterans getting their benefits. We do training classes on how to do benefit claims. We're starting what we call claim writing boot camps. We have outreach programs where we work and link veterans with other organizations that may be specialists in doing things. Like we have several organizations that work with dogs, getting dogs into the hands of veterans and training dogs for veterans. We work with those. We have outreach programs for Gold Star families and Gold Star, for children, for reading programs and kind of just socialization programs. We host a coffee, or it's where we started. We stopped it for a month because of some admin cleanup. But we do a veteran working with local Black Rifle Coffee company to help do coffee socials for veterans that have, combat veterans, PTSD veterans, things like that, to give them a bit of a socialization with other veterans. We connect veterans with other groups and other organizations such as Warriors for Freedom and Eagle Ops, which is a local one here in Oklahoma, to try and give them opportunities for other areas and such. So we have all these type of groups that we work with and try and help out and share out.
We also have the vet center counselors that come down.
Oh, yeah, very good. We work very closely with vet centers.
Yeah.
Their counselors are on site here.
Yeah, we keep them in here, and when somebody comes in that's on edge or needs to talk, we let them do that. Of course, I'll talk as long as anybody wants to talk to me. You know, I'm just here to help you.
Typical Marine, right?
But I'm not a professional counselor, and I certainly don't want to get in their territory. But I want people to know that they're welcome to come and talk. You know, visit.
Dale, without a doubt, I'm in the military peer network. I'm not qualified, but for many times, and I have done this myself, just sitting down with somebody and listening to them and letting them know you understand and you've got some ways to help them. Sometimes they don't want to take that help, but just listening helps. I did the financial counseling for the Veterans Court up in Denton County for several years. And they're just talking through and listening to the problems. And many times the financial problems were just so overwhelming, and you could see the stress, and just trying to help them come down and get on a program and have a plan. Don't ever think those conversations are not important. They're hugely important. So I would like, Jordan, if you could please put up that website again so that we can refer everybody to it. Number one, we'd like for you to donate and be a part of this, because this saves lives. The other side of this is you need to know where to go to the Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation. They're in Oklahoma, but they help worldwide, correct? Because you're doing it throughout the United States and other countries as well.
We now have 19 veterans in 19 different countries, 3 territories in all 50 states getting benefits through our program. Okay,
one of the things you want to talk about too is about how you could expand this Dale K. Graham. So I think maybe Cedric and I need a road trip or a flight trip. If you're close to Westminster Airport, there's a coffee shop there, and trust me, we can fly in because we've got planes. And I want to talk to you about how we can help you save more lives and help more people, because that's part of what our mission is all about.
Help, hope, and healing.
Help, hope, and
That's
healing.
what it's about.
When you land there at Westheimer, that used to be Ozzy's restaurant right there where you got that good coffee. They just remodeled it. I went by there about a week ago, and the food is delicious.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll be up there. And
Sounds like a date.
I deal with a bank that's there. They do a phenomenal job. I've helped out a bunch of their customers. Man, I got to tell you, I love Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma can really lead the way, though, in getting this expanded, because you're central to the United States. You could help a lot of people much more. And I know DAV and American Legion, and I'm a VFW Life member. I know they help, but you guys probably have some skills and knowledge that can help them a whole lot more. So my hat's off to you. Thank you, guys. And thank you for being on board with us. This is a wonderful opportunity.
We're going to have them back.
Yeah, we'll have them
definitely.
back. I'll tell you what, if you do an event up there, Cedric and I will come up and do a live remote with you. How's that?
On the 27th of March, we're having a Vietnam Veterans Intake event. We're sending out notices, or sent out notices to all Vietnam veterans registered with us who are either waiting for an appointment or haven't yet to book their appointment, to come on in on that day, and we're going to have them lined up, and we're going to serve each one of them until we're done.
All right, tell you what we'll do.
All we're doing is Vietnam veterans.
I think I've got a deal we've got to do on March 27th, but we'll take a look and see what we can do to help you guys. Send this program. We're going to send you the program and send it out on your channels. All right, Cedric, it's time for you to give us a prayer, because you are my minister.
We can do
Would you
that.
close with a prayer?
Most definitely. Father God in heaven, we thank you for the Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation. We thank you for Dale. We thank you for Gary and all the volunteers that are involved with helping veterans, to direct them, to lead them. Thank you for those who have served, those who will serve, Father. And we just ask that you continue to guide our steps. Father God, guide this country. Keep us as great a country as we've ever been. And let us be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 So thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
We really, really appreciate it. And we'll send you some information, and we'll send you this program. Have a great day.
God bless.
This
Thank you,
is
guys.
Veterans Impact Show. Share us, join us, be a part of it.